Hello, welcome to the chapel. I wanted to take a few minutes out of my day and yours to share some good news and some important news. Before I speak though, I'm going to perform a sacramental act, so just wait a moment. Just pulling off some red crosses off the floor of the worship area, by which you'll know that we are now reaching the point, in fact we have reached the point where the diocese has allowed individual parishes to make their own decisions about reopening fully without restrictions. That news came down from Trenton last night. There are some exceptions with that, and I'll explain what those are. But first, let me give you the very good news that as of now, we at St Paul's Westfield will be worshipping in such a way that anyone who has been fully vaccinated will not need to wear a mask or distance while in church. That's perhaps the best news that you've been waiting for a very long time. Furthermore, you can sing in church unmasked and not distanced if you have been fully vaccinated. If you have not been fully vaccinated, then there is still a requirement for you to mask or distance when you're in church. However, we're not going to sort of police you. We're letting that be known. We're going to display it in writing, but we're not going to ask anyone if they have been vaccinated. It's going to work on an honour system. So that's over to your integrity. If you have been vaccinated, you can still wear a mask and nobody will ask you why you're wearing one. There should be freedom for people to continue to distance as they wish. And so please feel free to come to any of the services in a mask if you wish to, and distance yourself if you wish to, even if you have been fully vaccinated. So what that means initially is that beginning this Sunday, the 7:45 congregation, people who have been fully vaccinated will not need to observe the restrictions of masking and distancing as we have in the past. You will have read in the last few days my thoughts about a new worship schedule. And let me just explain why we need a new worship schedule. It's because not everybody is going to be able to come back to church straight away. So even though we are now at a point where we can have our regular services with fully vaccinated people not distancing and not masking and singing, there will be people who are not able to be with us. And there are two or three types of those people. There are those who are still compromised in their immune system, people with conditions which make them especially vulnerable to illness, people who for medical reasons have not been able to be vaccinated. And you know, some of our elderly folk as well, and also our children have not been vaccinated. Anyone under the age of 12 has not been vaccinated, and most people between 12 and 16 have not either. And so there is still a need for us to be providing worship opportunities for those folks, even if the majority of adults are able to come back and worship in the building without any restrictions. We also have this other wonderful group of folks who don't come or have never been to an in-person service at St Paul's. They have joined us in the last year and a bit through our live streaming, and we want to continue to provide worship opportunities for those people as well. And so if we're going to consider the needs of everyone, we can't fit everything in on a Sunday morning the way we have. And so that explains why we are keeping 7:45 as it is, but moving 10 o'clock to 9:30. Now the content of the service will not change. It will still be the right to Eucharist with singing. In the academic year there'll be our choir as normal, so that won't change, but the time will to just to 9:30, which means that at 11 o'clock we can then live stream our morning prayer service for people who are not in the room and were not able to make it today. So that means there'll be 3 services on a Sunday morning. In the fullness of time, there will also be a Saturday evening service at 5 o'clock, but that will not occur until we have our assistant rector for young families in place. So I hope that's okay, that if you're used to 10 o'clock, 9:30 is not that inconvenient for you. And again, eventually when we're up and running fully in the autumn, we will have a breakfast between the 2 services, which will provide a fellowship opportunity for folks leaving 7:45 and for folks arriving early for 9:30. So a very different look for Sunday morning, but one which I think and which I hope sort of meets the needs of all our expanding congregation, both digitally and in person. So when you turn up to church this coming Sunday, 7:45, and then the following Sunday, the 6th of June, for the 9:30 service, you'll see some books back. You know, we'll have the hymnals back, we'll have prayer books back in the pew racks. You still won't be able to take both forms of communion. Regrettably, we're still restricted in only providing bread during communion. So people will come to the altar rail as they did pre-pandemic, but they'll only come for the bread and not for the wine. When it comes to sharing the peace, use your discretion. If you wish to make physical contact with somebody, please do so. If you've been fully vaccinated. If you have not been fully vaccinated, please do not. You're required to continue that 6 feet separation and be masked. But if you've been fully vaccinated, be as you wish with your own sense of caution and faith. I will be positioned at the door as per pre-pandemic on the way out, so that anybody who's been fully vaccinated and wishes to shake my hand can do so. Why are we starting 9:30 on the 6th of June and not this coming Sunday? There is a good reason for that. We're able theoretically to start that this Sunday, but the reality is one of the constraints that the diocese has continued to apply is that anybody who speaks publicly or who sings in a performative way, so in other words the choir, lay Eucharistic ministers, lectors, clergy, we have to have on record proof of their vaccination. And if they have not been fully vaccinated, then we're asking them to take a break from that ministry for the time being. So in order to have a record of all our LEMs and lectors and choir members on file, we're going to delay that by 1 week, which will give you time to send in a copy of your vaccination certificate if you are a LEM, a lector, or a member of the choir. So, good news, and yet it's good news which is tinged with a great deal of sadness. Let's not forget we have lost so much, particularly 590,000 fellow Americans. this has been a tough time, and in the fullness of time, at the right moment, we will have a public service in St Paul's where we can commemorate the things that we've lost, and particularly the people that we've lost through the pandemic. So I will let you know about that. That will probably be in the autumn. Our big grand reopening, where we are going to relaunch who we are, will be the 12th of September. So although we will be back in person and fully vaccinated people, unmasked and undistanced throughout the summer, we are still looking to have a big grand reopening. And so over the next few months, between now and September the 12th, each of us has a really important job, not just to get excited about coming back, but also to begin to prepare for our grand reopening. That means inviting your friends, telling people about the good news as it's proclaimed through St Paul's. And also presenting yourself as a volunteer. There are many ways we're going to need people to roll up their sleeves, to put their ministries into action as we come back to open fully in a celebratory way on September the 12th. So we still have one question mark hanging over our life, and that is ministry to children right now. And as I've said, children have not been vaccinated, under 12s, and the diocese has said that until a vaccine is available to children under 12, there is no in-person, unmasked, undistanced children's work until 2 months after the vaccine is available. For people between the age of 12 and 16, that means masked and distanced until July the 10th. So we have a question before us, and if you are a young parent, I would value your input on this. We can either continue to do a streaming all-age service once a week, or we can have an in-person Sunday school at 9:30 on Sundays, but we can do it outside where there aren't the constraints of partitions in rooms and so forth, but with masks and distancing. So if you have small children, maybe you could let me know or Erica know which would be your preference. A recorded all-age service, as we've been doing for the last year, or an in-person Sunday school with distancing and masking, but outside. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. It's going to be a great day on Sunday as 7:45 discard their masks. And on the 6th of June, as we begin our 9:30 service, again unmasked and with singing and no distancing if you have been fully vaccinated. So God bless you. Thank you for your patience. Let's move forward together in faith and hope, rejoicing in the good things that God has given us. Thank you.